The views presented in this program are not meant to express the specific views of the Aletheia Bible Fellowship. You are listening to the Vigilance Radio Network.
Welcome back to the podcast, episode number 13. A little bit late. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulties, but welcome back to the podcast, Culture and Sanity. Again, this is episode 13. Just off the top, for those of you that are interested, we have a few different things on the docket tonight. We're going to be talking about Roseanne. She seems to be a popular figure since her TV show relaunch. I guess she's always been sort of a popular figure, and controversial, right? She's always been sort of a controversial comedian.
Yes.
So there's something in the news, in the headlines, with one of her latest episodes of her relaunched show. We're going to be talking about this new film by Lars von Trier. Once again, another controversial figure in entertainment. So Cannes Film Festival has been going on. I don't actually know how long Cannes Film Festival is, like if it's a weekend thing or multiple weeks, but anyways, it had been going on. I don't know if it still is or not. He has a new movie out, and yeah, that had some polarizing effect on people that were at Cannes. We might... No. We're going to be talking about DJ Khaled and his views, apparently, on sex, his sexual relationship with his wife, and his views as far as women, I guess, goes in sex. There's a new movie coming out with Paul Rudd and Steve Coogan. Just a trailer that I've seen so far, but there's maybe some interesting stuff in that. And then finally, the growing trend that is apparently pansexuality, and just media trying to push that sexual narrative, or redefine the sexual narrative even more. So, a few different things on our docket. We have another fun game set up tonight. So we got some good feedback last episode with our call-in to our different contestants. And so we're bringing that format back. We have a few people lined up to call. We got some trivia. And the trivia this week will be reboot trivia in honor of things being rebooted, basically. So yeah, Karate Kid just came out like a week ago on YouTube Red.
Right.
So we were like, hey, you reboot trivia. That's a good whatever category. So yeah, a few different things. So I guess let's get into it. I want to hit a couple things before our trivia. We got people on standby at around 8:30, so we're going to try and do right by them. So first up, just looking at our list here. So Roseanne. So the last episode of Roseanne has been labeled Islamophobic because the long and short of the episode is she has a neighbor living next to her who are Muslims, okay? And so with that becomes all the stereotypes that Muslim people have in this country. Roseanne calling them some terrorists or some version of that name or whatever. And so, yeah, it's interesting. But so she's getting a lot of backlash and people calling Roseanne Islamophobic, and sort of the question or the angle we're coming at is two, I guess. So is this more just on the notion that people's sense of humor is just increasingly weak? So that's one aspect of it, and we've talked about that many times in the past. And then two, like, can we no longer comment or Yeah, can we no longer comment on something, excuse me, without being accused of being anti whatever we're commenting on? So it's interesting because in the episode, like the episode plays out. Yes, she starts out, she's being prejudiced towards her neighbor because they're Muslims, and she's stereotyping them and all these different things. But in the end, like, it ends on a good note. She's on a good relationship with her neighbor, and the whole thing is just social commentary on the growing, Islamophobia in general in this country. And so, like, yeah, the whole episode is just social commentary. It's not saying it's good. In fact, quite the opposite. Roseanne came out and said it herself, like, whatever she said in the article, I can't remember, but yeah. So when is it, why can't that exist in today's age? And like we see it with, like we've had personal experiences with it, and I know you have probably more than me, but like you can't even enter into the ring, right? You can't, if you're not from that, whatever you want to call it.
Side of the fence.
Side of the fence. Yeah, I was trying to be politically correct. If you're not from that side of the fence, then you simply don't understand, and any attempt you try to make on commenting on that position is just racist or Islamophobic or this or that. So where are we at with that? Well, like, where is society at? Is there no longer social commentary? Like, is that not allowed anymore or whatever? Like, what's the deal? What do you think?
Well, now that I'm finished doing my responsibilities on the computer.
What did you say?
Yeah, what was the question?
Yeah, so we're talking about Roseanne, and we're talking about the episode, and it's just, if you're not from that side of the fence, as you put it, you just can't stay out of it. Like, you have no business commenting on it, and any attempt you make at speaking into an issue or expressing an opinion or just pointing out something is just, that's you're being prejudiced, you're being racist, or you're being anti whatever the narrative is going on, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would have to ask the question of whether, if because we know that Roseanne is, well, for lack of a better way of putting it, I mean, in general, she sides with conservative values. Although in the 90s, she was not considered that way. So it's pretty interesting. But if it was somebody who wasn't conservative, would it be considered Islamophobic? That's the question I would ask.
If it was somebody not conservative, would it be considered? So what do you mean? So what's the implication then, or of what you're saying?
Well, does it? I think a good measure of whether something is, should we call it racist, is whether it goes both ways. Like, if somebody says, like, if somebody makes a statement about a black person, could you take out the attribute of blackness and stuff in whiteness or yellowness or redness or whatever,
brownness?
Yeah, stuff out. Take one out for the other, and would it be equally abhorrent regardless of what was in there? See, at that point, I think that you can say that it's bad. But if it's just for one, and forgive me, I haven't really thought this all the way through, so I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, speaking out loud, or thinking out loud.
Yeah, but at that point, you can say that it's bad. But if it's something that is one-sided, then you have to ask the question of, is it one-sided? If a person says, okay, so here's an example of this, and I know this is race versus religion, but here's an example of this. If a person is making a statement about how all white people are bad, like I was listening to, is it Cohen? James Cohen? I can't remember his name, but he was a speaker, or he was a pastor who just passed away. I can't remember his first name, and he was Black Liberation Theology, And some of the stuff that he was saying was just intense. It was intense, talking about how like the responsibility of God falls under the, man, I really should find quotes. The responsibility of God in terms of the Messiah, like, has to assume the identity of blackness, and that if it's anything but black, it like goes against. We have to overthrow that God. So it's like, you know, when we're talking about things like that, like if a white person was to say that about a black person, would that be okay? So in the same vein, like when we're talking about like things that are racist or religionist or whatever you want to say, like how does that work in terms of what's being said? Like, is what's being said actually racist? I think the way that you can tell that is, you know, by whether it's a one-sided racism or whether it's an equal opportunity sort of thing. You know, if it's one-sided, then it's actually racist, if you can call it that. And then if it's an equal opportunity thing, then it's not really racism, it's just commentary.
Right. And I mean, I don't watch this show, but I know shows, you know, like I'm going to find it hard to believe that she's targeting this every episode.
Right.
You know, like, and it's not just about race or something. It's current events. And I think she even said that in that article we pulled from, that she said, she took to Twitter, her work is about real issues and real people. Her words, "That's what I do. Next season will be even more current events. I will challenge every sacred cow in the USA." Sacred cow.
It reminds me of Mubi.
Who's Mubi?
Mubi from, is it Jane and Silent Bob Strike Back? The McDonald's ripoff. I think it's Mubi.
I've only seen that movie once. They
go into like a McDonald's, and the McDonald's has a golden cow in it, and I think it's called Mubi. I gotta look that up.
It's vaguely familiar, but yeah. So she's saying that like that's what she does. That's what she's intending to do. It's not prejudiced one way or the other. And it's so interesting. And it's funny because some other person, I don't know who this person is, but the article quotes them, is a Muslim person. I laughed and was moved as well. I appreciate Roseanne's recognition of rising Islamophobia. So it's like some people get it and some people don't get it, or some people are just choosing to be offended by it or something. It's just
right. Well, yeah. I mean, what was the reason why people were taking issue with it? Just because she's not Islamic, and so she can't talk about it? Yeah,
I don't know, because as I understand the episode, like its arc ends how it should, right? Like right. Not segregating this neighbor of hers, and not saying, you know, it's not like they forced the family out of the neighborhood or something like that. So right. Her character admitted to being in the wrong, you know, and like that neighbor relationship was like reconciled and stuff. So it's people like completely missing the whole point of the episode, apparently. Maybe I should watch the episode so I can, you know.
Well, I mean that's sort of a thing with that whole show. That whole show
right.
It's sort of an equal opportunity show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, have you watched the reboot at all?
Not the reboot, but I used to watch it because my stepmom was all about Roseanne.
See, I've watched the reboot quite a bit, and I think it's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, like it doesn't...
It talks about all kinds of...
Well, it has major characters from all different sides of the fence. Yeah, Roseanne is the main character, but the other characters are not slouches. You know, they're main characters, and they're from all sides of the fence, and it shows the ridiculousness of all sides of those positions. And you see like a reconciliation based around the family. Like that's sort of the point of it.
Right.
So you can see that there's a want for reconciliation there. And I think it's incredibly interesting that there were people who watched that show that who are Islamic and who didn't have an issue with it at all and said it was good, like you'd said, and then others who said that it, basically they don't want Roseanne touching anything.
And it's so interesting to me. Like and that's with so many things. It's with so many things in our culture. It's like you're either for or you're against. And that's how it has to be.
Right.
And that's how I want it to be, and that's how I want you to be and me to be. You're either for this side or you're for this side and nothing in between.
Right.
There's no compromise. And yeah, like few things are like that in life.
Right.
Like social issues, definitely. Like, but yeah, it's interesting. I was listening to a podcast where it's like, and let's see, is anything on our thing? We were going to talk about the Donald Glover Childish Gambino thing, but so his whole music video is the gun
right.
topic and stuff. But
right.
That's how it is, man. Like so if you're a pro gun person, and we'll just, the gun topic is so hot again. There was just another school shooting. I don't know if you saw that.
I was
in Texas,
ironically at a school camp, so I missed it.
That's funny. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Yeah, you can be so pro gun and so pro Second Amendment, but the moment you say there's a whole like vernacular for if you're pro or against. These are the words you say. These are the things you don't say. And that will tell me if you're either pro or against this issue, okay? And this is just the gun example, but
right.
And the moment you step outside of that box, your side, they want nothing to do with you,
right?
And they just they just box you in, and it's so crazy,
right?
So
well, and I think not to get into Donald Glover.
Yeah,
Childish Gambino's performance, but I think that's sort of what he's doing in his videos. He's showing there's like multiple sides to America in terms of that conversation and in terms of like the black experience. Yeah, so yeah, everybody wants to put you in a box.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you progress past issues?
In this day and age, you don't, right? You just have the loudest voice. Or you don't care, and I think that's where Roseanne is she doesn't care.
Yeah, I was also just now thinking, don't care, but our friend Gio, that's like the position I think he claims to take, and how he's expressed like post-millennials.
Right.
Like, they don't care. Like, they don't talk about these things. Like,
right.
They don't want to talk about these things. They don't want to make enemies or, create friendships based on these things. And
right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, we need to do another segment of Gio on the streets.
Yeah.
The last...
I don't think Gio watches Roseanne. I could be wrong.
The last thing that Gio taught me, and I don't know if this is an inappropriate term, but the last thing that Gio on the streets taught me was the term dead ass, which apparently means serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Like when someone says, dude, are you serious? And if someone were to go, yeah, dude, I'm dead ass serious. Now, cut out the serious. You're just dead ass.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I was thinking that it would be a good replacement for a future amen. Like all God's people said, dead ass.
I'd never say that.
Yeah, I think we might get in trouble for saying that. But that's the common vernacular. You think that all God's people said amen back in the day? Come on.
Dead ass. I'm not going to start saying that. Maybe Gio.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's move on from Roseanne. Okay. This one's a interesting one. Maybe we should save this one. This one might take longer. But okay, so the DJ Khaled one. We'll do that one.
Sure. DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled. So DJ Khaled...
Have you ever listened to DJ Khaled talk?
I've heard him say his name really loud. Because that's what he does at the beginning of every song. I don't think I've ever heard him talk like in a conversation.
All right. I don't know who somebody's saying boolin'. Is that a Geo term?
Boolin. What is boolin? I just heard that recently.
What is boolin? Gio tried to teach it to our
Boolin.
our group the other day.
Dude, maybe Gio did teach me that word. It just means like, no, gosh, there's so much language, and it's just always evolving.
Yeah,
it's always changing.
English language for sure.
But it's so rapid nowadays.
Right.
Like they'll pick up a word and then they'll ditch it like
Right.
a month. And did you still say that?
Right.
You're a fool.
Yeah. Every now and then a new term becomes fetch.
Good one. Okay, so have I heard DJ Khaled talk? No. Maybe you can pull up just a short snippet. But so DJ Khaled recently made some comments about, I guess, his sex life.
I'm told that it means just hanging with friends.
Just hanging. Yeah. I think Gio said it to me as what's boolin', like what's happening, or maybe that's a different word. I don't
Like
know.
what's hanging?
No, it's not hanging. It's a word that's like, how do you get that for that? It doesn't make any sense.
Weird. Yes, I would like to know for our 2 listeners at the moment, what is the etymology of boolin?
Boolin'.
Boolin.
Urban Dictionary, dude.
I know, but I want somebody else to look at it.
Okay, so DJ Khaled said this in an interview someone dug up. He said that he doesn't perform oral sex, but expects it from his wife because there are different rules for men.
Why is he even talking? Well, okay, was it on was it in a magazine or something?
Well, USA Today pulled this up.
USA Today.
They unearthed some old. It just says some older interview.
Okay.
I don't know. You know, someone just
Sure.
doing some journalism.
Sure.
Just doing some investigative journalism.
Someone's being salty with DJ Khaled.
For whatever reason, they got some beef with DJ Khaled. But then Dwayne Johnson like reposted it, which made it then go viral because
Someone is personally messaging me instead of messaging the comment thread. I don't know what's going on.
share it with the world, man.
Yeah, dude, put it on the comment thread. I don't know who you are.
Okay, because men, there are different rules for men. Okay, so he doesn't do that because there are different rules for men. Dwayne Johnson retweeted it and said, "As a man," clears his throat, "I take great pride in mastering all performances." And then he's excused himself from the conversation.
That's a future president.
So maybe that's why it made the news, because Dwayne Johnson retweeted
Sure.
it, and Dwayne Johnson's like the next prez or something.
Right.
2022. And so let's see what do we make of DJ Khaled's comments about some rules are just different for men in terms of sex. What makes for a healthy sexual relationship between couples? Where does DJ Khaled come from? Does his position have any validity whatsoever in the sexual relationship between two people?
Where does DJ Khaled come from? Do we know like what his background is?
Like what he practices or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's his belief system?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up.
Look it up. Are there different rules? So there are different rules for men. So, I mean, is there even enough to go off of there? Like, can we speak into that? Maybe I don't know if he's married. I think he's married. Maybe his wife is.
He's Muslim.
He's a Muslim. So, I mean, I don't know a lot about.
Born and raised in New Orleans.
A Muslim born and raised in. What do they call it?
Nola.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What does a Muslim faith teach about man and wife and that kind of? Does it speak to anything like that?
Well, I can't speak authoritatively, but I know that it does. I mean, it does place women below men,
like severely below men, right?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's where he's coming from then. Just, I'm the man and this is my woman and she has to do whatever I want.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it doesn't seem like I don't get from that he's.
I don't either.
Unwilling to,
satisfy his wife.
Right. But just that, yeah, he has a certain view. So I mean that's interesting. We could get into the different views between men and women. Vishnu Mangawati,
nice plug.
He wrote a book called The Book That Made Your World, and he's a student of Francis Schaeffer. He's Indian. His most of his country is what's Hindu, yeah. And their view of women is incredibly low. And he goes on at length in this book talking about how the biblical view has lifted women to the position of being equal with men, at least in the sight of God. Not to say that there aren't different roles and functions, but that they're equal. And there's an exploration of that equality that allows for like sexual freedom and other things in relationships. So that's, positive.
Yeah, you were just talking about that a little bit last week too, right? In your sermon, like,
yeah,
in terms of like the family unit. But you said something along the lines of, when it comes to God, there's no man.
Well, that's,
say?
It's straight out of scripture.
Yeah, there's no man and there's no woman and I forget exactly how you.
I'll pull up the exact scripture for you, so I don't.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't remember the context in which how you were presenting it.
Right.
Though, either.
Well, I was what I was talking about was that there is equality in sort of the ontological nature of human beings. Like, human beings in essence are equal before God. And when
but in function, obviously they're.
Well, but even in that, the need for human beings to function differently is equal too. So in this sense, everybody is doing their part to function correctly. It's not that one part is more important than another. It's just one part is different than another to make it function better. It's from Galatians. Actually, it's from a number of places, but Galatians 3:28, I think, is what I quoted. For all of you who were baptized into Christ have clothed yourself with Christ. There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ. Yeah. So, in terms of that, you actually don't see, at least in Christianity, you don't see a lot of those laws, which is really interesting because it comes out of that area, that same region. But the difference is that in Christianity, a woman is equal to a man. That's the difference. Does she have a different function as a man? Yeah, and a man has a different function as a woman, but they're equal to each other. Whereas in Islam, they're not. So, and again, I have to do more prep work to look into that. But
yeah, we don't really know exactly where he's coming from. But obviously, that's the red flag for people when he says the words like there are different rules for men. Obviously, that's a sensitive button for people, and a woman. Well,
we got to be careful. You might be accused of being Islamophobic,
or
talking about the difference.
Genderphobic or something.
Right.
Something along those lines. Female phobic.
Right.
Whoops. Yeah, I guess we have to look more into where he was coming from. Yeah, I didn't even say what the interview was. It just said in an old interview dug up blah 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 blah, and then Dwayne Johnson retweeted something, and that's why I went viral.
And that's why he's going to be president of the United States.
Because whatever he does gets
even if it's Rampage.
We weren't going to talk about that again. We left it dead. Anyways, okay. Let's break for our game, which means we got to make a call.
All right, we're making a call.
The next topic will be pretty big, so I don't want to cover another one before our thing. So, yeah, 1 second. I'm gonna make a call.
Okay, he's making a call, and so I'm just gonna.
I gotta do it on my phone and my compute.
Right. We got 3 listeners right now. I don't know if any of them are on it, but just to remind you what we're going to do. So we're playing trivia, and it's reboot trivia. And so it's going to be on things that are being rebooted right now in honor of the Karate Kid reboot, which is awesome. For the record, it's awesome. You can watch it on YouTube Red, which nobody has, but I guess that's the thing. But in any case, we're playing that, and that people are going to be competing. Our listeners will compete with each other on the air live to win some Red Bull. So this is unofficially sponsored by Red Bull. And we're dialing. What do we got? Oh, will someone pick up?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Stand by. Brittany, do I got you?
Hello?
Can you hear?
Who is this?
This is your conscience speaking. Okay, hold on.
Sorry. Let's start that conversation that way.
All right, so you can hear good?
I can hear good.
Okay. And you can hear good, right? Yes? Say yes.
Yeah, I can hear good.
Okay, we got 3 people.
So who do we got on the air right now?
We got I think his name is John Parker. His Facebook says he lives in Milwaukee, Oregon. Oh, weird. It's really close to us.
John Park.
Imagine that. He must have had his GPS on, like, near Podcast Live near you or something like
His
that.
address is...
Something like that.
Number,
And then
phone number.
this other person has the same last name as me, but it's a woman named Brittany, so also another coincidence. And then this other person doesn't believe in social media at all, so he makes things difficult when you make calls to him because you're set up in one way with some people and you have to take special steps to get on the phone with this other person, and that's my brother. Okay, so we have trivia this week. It's a 3-way competition. Oh, and by the way, we gave the champion of last episode a chance to defend his title.
That's right.
And he said he was scared to do it and then didn't want to get on. I think that was his exact words. I'm kind of scared to do it. Do I have to?
That's what I heard as well. I'll
so,
confirm.
We're just kidding. He didn't say that. Okay, so this week's trivia for you 3 for the chance to win some Red Bull.
I don't want Red Bull.
Not-
I want a dinner.
I do believe you just recently tried a new Red Bull flavor and said, "Oh my gosh, that's so good. It tastes like candy."
Yeah, but I don't want it.
You can give it to your child.
I'm still playing.
Okay. So, this week's trivia, as I mentioned, is reboot trivia in honor of everything being rebooted all the time. To make a long story short.
Right.
So, cue the music, please.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Beautiful.
I don't think they can hear it on their end.
Hear any music.
They can't. But if any of them listen to it back, it'll be awesome.
Yeah,
for
that's
them.
right.
And anyone, yeah, okay. So, reboot trivia. Here we go.
So
First-
so the rules are.
Go ahead, Josh.
So the rules are for reboot trivia is Adam's going to read for you, and then you're going to have to try to guess before the first person to get it right is going to get the
You're
the
guessing
point.
what is being rebooted based on the clue. Pretty simple.
Oh, I'm so nervous.
Okay, here we go. First up. City of Angels, Salvation, Wicked Prayer were all a part of this series that's being rebooted, whose star suffered a similar fate as Steve Irwin.
The Crow.
Oh!
Very
The
nice.
Crow is correct. 1 point to contestant number Jeremy. Good job. So far, you're in the lead after one question.
Right.
Here we go. Christina Ricci's dead co-star probably won't be in this film reboot about rough-necked soldiers.
What the heck?
Starship Troopers.
Oh! A round of applause to John Parker. And the hidden clue in there was, of course, Casper. Casper Van Dien and also Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yep.
Roughneck Soldiers. Rico's Roughnecks. Good job, John Parker. I think he said that movie was the best movie of all time, bar none. He's told me that before.
Sure.
Next up, so the 1-1 with Brittany at a lonely 0. Next up, Ferris Bueller's sister will probably have to stay in the corner for this film reboot.
It was Dirty Dancing.
Oh!
Except you don't have to say what is.
This is not Jeopardy, and we don't want to be sued. So please stop saying what is. Dirty Dancing was right. Quick draw John on that one. All right. Here we go.
We're still best of friends, Brittany.
I love you.
Jonathan V will be looking to reclaim his place in Americans' hearts when this franchise resurrects.
What is Johnny 5?
Incorrect.
Oh, can I say it again?
Yes.
Short Circuit.
Yes. Jonathan V, Johnny number 5, will be looking to reclaim his place in Americans' hearts when this franchise resurrects, when he comes to life. Next up, this is a simple one. Crafted by yours truly, Josh McGarry. Heads will roll in Scotland when the game begins.
Highlander.
Oh my goodness.
I told you that one was good.
So the score is John 3, Jeremy 1, Brittany. I'm sorry, but at this point you have no chance of winning.
I'll gracefully bow out.
The good news is you can still make the podium. The bad news is there's only 3 contestants, so you all make the podium.
And I also still get a dinner on Monday. So. Thanks.
Here we go. No mercy if you want to win the All Valley tournament.
Bring it on.
Oh my gosh. You are now out. You cannot answer again. That was wrong.
Please, no! No! No!
No mercy if you want to win the All Valley tournament. Nothing? Nothing from our contestants. 5.
I said, so was I wrong?
It is not Bring It On. And you should be ashamed for dropping that. We all know your secret favorite second movie is Bring It On, right next to Starship Troopers. The answer is Karate Kid.
Cobra Kai.
Oh, Cobra Kai.
Very nice.
I'm going to give it to him.
Yes,
I'm
very
going to give it
nice.
to him. I'm going to give
Very
it to him
nice.
just to make the game interesting.
Yes.
He said Cobra Kai. Oh, also, by the way, none of you better have your phones out. You will be judged harshly.
I'm using my phone to call you.
And there you go. Perfect. That works.
Same here.
Okay, so the score is John 3. You could argue that John deserves a -1 for saying Bring It On.
It's not a minus. Come on,
So John 3, Jeremy 2, Brittany 0. Here we go. Last one. It won't be as ironic when somebody other than Adrian Brody calls someone ugly in this franchise relaunch. I'll say it one more time. What?
Predator.
Oh,
Very nice.
this just got interesting. And we're going to have to come up with a on-the-spot tiebreaker because it is 3-3.
Okay, I got one.
Josh has got one. You have to speak loud so they can all hear you.
All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, ready.
There will probably be no William Shatner or John Lithgow in this reboot.
I got nothing.
Say it again, Josh. Say it one more time.
There will probably be no John Lithgow or William Shatner in this reboot.
For what it's worth, I think it's another sequel, not a reboot. But I don't know if it's like the same.
Well, it was anthology based before, so at least what I'm talking about. So hopefully this is a sequel in the same universe, though.
Okay.
It's not a Star Trek movie.
Really reaching.
I got nothing.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Ugh.
So say what it was.
It was Gremlins. Right?
Gremlins.
Right? You guys know about the Gremlins? The Gremlins the Twilight Zone Gremlins skit that was originally William Shatner and then was John Lithgow in the movie. But they're rebooting the Gremlins franchise.
We have to come up with another tiebreaker. There has to be a winner. This isn't a soccer match. There will be a winner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a movie.
We got a movie
reboot in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you, in this reboot, you probably won't smell the woman, although you will be able to smell her little friends.
Could you repeat that?
In this reboot, you probably won't smell the woman, even though you will be able to smell her little friends.
What is the number woman?
No.
Oh, Scarface.
There you go.
Ooh. It was Scarface. They're remaking it, directed by Antoine Fuqua.
That's right.
Which
That's a terrible idea.
it's a terrible idea. Hey, we're not supporting anything. We're just saying the facts. So that means John Parker is the winner with a score of 4. So congratulations to you, John. And thanks for everyone participating. Now we're going to get back to it. John, you've won an undisclosed amount of Red Bull. Could be a lot, could be a little, could be fresh, could be expired. We'll have to see. All right, thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Good night.
Night, guys.
Wow, we weren't ready for the tiebreaker. Yes. Okay. So good fun. Good.
So
fun.
now that we've lost all of our audience, we're getting back to it.
Okay, so the next up. So Cannes Film Festival had been going on. I mentioned it at the beginning. Lars von Trier is back in the picture. Always been a controversial filmmaker, and his movies are really dark. And
How do you pronounce his name? Trier?
I pronounce it von Trier, but
Trier.
I'm not saying that's
All
right.
right. Okay.
Hopefully, I don't get labeled as
A von Trierist.
he's from Denmark. So what would that be? A Danophobe. Danish. So his movies are always really depressing, and
Right.
there's no real hope or light in them, I'll say. So he's got a movie coming out that's being shown at Cannes Film Festival. It's called The House That Jack Built. It's got Matt Dillon and Uma Thurman and some other relatively big people. No one huge, but so it's a movie about a serial killer, and apparently it's like the most violent thing that's ever been shown at this film festival. People at the film festival, which is like a prestigious
Right.
event, you know,
Right.
It's like dress and gown. It's like people like high movie critics are going there, and like high producers, and like all these like people in the industry that are like high up, and it's usually like really like artsy movies and stuff like that. But so he's got a movie coming out. It's about a serial killer, and apparently it's just horrific to the point where people are walking out of the premiere and stuff. And we're not talking like your average moviegoer, right? We're talking like people whose job it is to like high critique these films and stuff like that, which makes it even more interesting. But saying that it's not even art, it's disgusting. Like women and children, specifically women are being like mutilated and senselessly killed, and so on and so forth, to the point like someone said like we're expected to come out here in dress and gown and sit through something like that. Like it's disgusting. Like all kinds of, you know, quotes from these different people, and apparently it's really intense. With that said, for the people that did stick around, like it ended and a handful of them or whatever, the people that did stick around like gave him a standing ovation, which is
like a 6-minute standing ovation,
which is really interesting.
But he also had, I think he had an ovation at the beginning too, because I don't know. He made some sort of like sympathetic Nazi comments. The last movie that
something about Hitler. He said something about Hitler specifically, and that obviously didn't go over well. Which, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so the question is, in movies like his, and I've watched...
Oh, he was banned. That's what it was. He was banned for 7 years from the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, so he's back, and now he comes back with this.
Right.
Like this horror show.
Right.
Yeah, I've watched... So I think he first like burst on with that movie Melancholia.
Melancholia.
Kirsten Dunst.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw it. I don't even know what it's about.
A lot of people find that to be like beautiful.
Yeah. Do you know what it's about?
The end of the world.
But I watched his last piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 3-parter or a 3-parter, and it's called Nymphomaniac, which of course is about sex addicts. And it's
here we go again. Always talking about.
And it was dark, man. Like it was dark, and
well, he had another one that was like really big, and I think it was rumored to have actual sex scenes in it.
That was the one.
Defoe.
Oh, I don't know.
Antichrist.
Oh.
Where the couple that go to a cabin.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I never saw it, but I've read about it.
Yeah, he makes movies that are just visceral, like on another level, I guess. But so the question for, I guess, our purposes and for our listeners' purposes is, when does art stop being art? So versus what, I guess? When does art stop being art and start becoming
anti-art?
Anti-art. So what does that mean?
Well, that's what Francis Schaeffer...
And how do you define that?
Francis Schaeffer, I pulled it up because, obviously we're talking about this. Francis Schaeffer defined art as anti-art when it is mere intellectual statement divorced from reality of who people are and the fullness of what the universe is.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not art, it's anti-art when something puts something out there in front of you that has no value discussed in it about who human beings are, essentially, or like the beauty of the universe. If it doesn't talk about the beauty of the universe, if it just talks about gross, disgusting things, then it's not really art. It actually takes away from you.
Depicts anything gross or disgusting.
Yeah, for the purpose of depiction.
And that can be anything, for the record. Like,
right.
Like, not even, like, gross and disgusting, like, literally,
Right.
But I guess in this movie, it would be.
Right.
It would be literally. But, yeah, just for the sake of it, right? So I know you always call it, like, what do you call it? Torture porn? Or maybe that's not what you call it. Maybe that's just what it's called.
That's an industry term that they use for a genre of horror
like Hostel.
movies. Yeah,
like
or
Hostel, right?
The Hills Have Eyes too.
Yeah, mutilation just because.
Or Human Centipede.
Yeah, watched that movie not knowing what it was about and wasn't pleased.
I remember I was really angry about that.
Yeah, it kept popping up on my Netflix, and then I watched it, and it was... Yeah, I've never, ever, ever recommended that to anybody. In fact, I tell people, please don't watch it. Like, I beg them not to watch it.
Right.
So art stops becoming art when it's void of anything of value to man.
Right.
And doesn't reflect what? Doesn't reflect that?
Yep. Yeah, and I think, when we talk about torture porn, like it's really true. And I remember The Hills Have Eyes too, and I remember thinking about that. It's one of the only movies I've ever walked out of. The other one that I walked out of was Texas Chainsaw, and that was
the first remake.
The remake with Jessica Biel,
early 2000. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like as a man, that was like a decision that I had to make because Jessica Biel was looking great in that movie, and I still like felt spiritually uncomfortable about watching what was going on. So I walked out of that film. And I have seen a lot of films because, I used to manage a theater and I would watch every film that came through. So, yeah. Yeah, there's just some when it's lacking any sort of humanity. There's a statement that he makes in the what is it called? In the trailer about The
Heaven
something,
and hell?
yeah, heaven being for
He
the
says
soul.
he believes heaven in the trailer. So sorry, we don't have the trailer queued up for you, but in the trailer, Matt Dillon's character, who is the serial killer Jack, he says, "I believe heaven and hell are the same place.
Yeah.
Heaven is for the soul, and hell is for the body."
Right.
So, what were you about to say about that?
No, I was just about to say that it just shows like the confusing state that we're sort of in as people. You know, this idea that you are, it's almost like a.
Well, and speaking of art,
Gnostic.
actually, it's what I got from another line he says in the movie, or the message in the trailer at least, was that what he was doing is art.
Right.
Like what he's doing in killing people.
Right.
Playing out what is in his fictional mind.
Right.
Like that is art. He's suggesting that what he's doing in killing all these people is his art.
Right. Well, there's a
And it's
difference.
really jacked up.
There's a difference between precision and art. You know what I mean? Like somebody can say that they have like a precision control of something, and they can call it art. But if it lacks the need to communicate, if it lacks, a soul to it, then it's not. I mean, just because somebody can take a chop saw and cut a bunch of things according to measurement, that doesn't mean that they're an artist. An artist is somebody who crafts something specifically, with a design in mind specifically for that purpose, So you can be an artist and then have a precision craft, but just having a precision craft doesn't make you an artist.
Interesting.
The thing that I think is interesting about this with Lars von Trier, whatever. LVT, is that it sort of mirrors his life, right?
I don't know.
Like, think about what he does. He puts these sort of grotesque imageries out there for people, and he watches their impact on people, and then people praise him for it. Not unlike this character, where this character is, well, I guess I don't know if this, if they praise him for it, but he views that as art, and he wants people to see that as art, and he doesn't care if people are disgusted by it or whatever, because he's just putting out there what's in his mind. And that's very similar to how this character is talking about things, how this character like sees himself as an artist. He doesn't care what people think. He likes that people, so it's almost like autobiographical in that way.
I wonder if in the, I mean, I don't know how much press he'll do for the movie because he's not that kind of filmmaker, but I wonder if that will ever come out at some point. That'll be interesting to keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of myself when I was making this movie.
Yeah.
Let's never go to lunch ever. Let's never do that.
Yeah, I think the thing is that, you've got sort of algorithmic artistry that's going on. Especially in the music scene, where you've got different music services that are producing algorithms for music, like so people can sleep or be in the right type of like work mood and so on and so forth. And to have that happen on a visual level, when a human being is looking for an emotional stimulus, but they aren't looking to propagate a person's like soul, they're just looking to create reaction. That's what he wants. He wants reaction. So he's putting visceral imagery together using sort of low-hanging fruit of philosophy and, bottom of the barrel bargain bin philosophy with this low-hanging fruit, and then putting visceral imagery together and calling it artwork. Well, it's not. It's really sort of algorithmic anti-art, where he's just sort of being a Jackson Pollock, like he's taking and throwing things onto a canvas and people are abhorred at it, and then other people are like, oh, that's so amazing, I want to buy it.
I was just thinking about myself and how I view like media and stuff, and so obviously I don't like movies like that, like these dark, no hope, no light, the characters have no redeeming qualities movies. I don't like movies like that. A lot of the times, and my brother and I talk about this, but like a lot of times I don't even like movies that are like real, like those characters are going through real issues and it's deeply emotional and it's like heavy and stuff like that, and like where it is like it reflects like human like dynamic and nature and relationship and all this stuff, just because I don't want to see that the majority of the time in movies, and like those are the kind of movies like he
You
likes,
go for like
example.
escapism.
I just want like a lighter. Sometimes I just want something that's not what you see in life. You know, like
Right.
I don't want to be reminded that that's how it is. Okay, like I know that's how it is, and so like I'm not saying I avoid those kind of movies, but like I don't flock to them as like those are my favorite kinds type thing.
See, for me, it's the other end of that spectrum. For me, like the pinnacle of the artistic expression is when you have like The Dark Knight, right? Mm-hmm. Where you have sort of this ultra realistic example of good and evil playing out on a massive scale, and you have all sides represented, and then you have the side of hope. And yeah, sometimes the bad guy succeeds, and that's one of the things I like about The Dark Knight in particular, is that the joke is on Batman. Like the bad guy succeeds. Yes, the city doesn't fail in choosing the boat dilemma that the Joker puts forward, but you know, he's able to quote unquote corrupt Two-Face. He's able to quote unquote corrupt the visage of the Batman, who's no longer seen as good by the people but seen as the perpetrator. He's able to corrupt these things, but in that corruption you still see the hope of this man who's, you know, able to do what he needs to do to survive and to do right by things. There's another movie, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's with the priest who's going to be killed.
Oh, you were just talking about that with us recently.
What is that called?
Yeah. While you're looking for that, it's funny too, because I'll go through phases of this too, and they are phases. Like, so with music, like in the last probably 2 weeks or something, your dad will appreciate this if he's listening or ever does, and my wife can attest to this, but I've had like the country music station on in my car, because country music to me is surface level and just sort of, you know, like happy like melodies and stuff like that, and whatever. Right. Just because I've been in a mood where I don't want to listen to like music that's, you know, talking about something deeper or just whatever. It's weird how it's a phase. Like it'll be like that for a couple weeks and then I'll stop.
Yeah,
I just get into moods.
That's why you like Christmas music.
Yeah, I love Christmas music.
See, I can't stand that.
I love it for that reason, because it's like it reminds me of an innocent like period, you know, like an innocent period in my, like it like reminds me of my childhood, right? Like when I didn't have to worry about these things.
That's funny.
And so like it just...
See, I don't think I've ever experienced that. If I'm being honest, I like when I want to get out of that, I go into other things that are like
you
that.
Go watch Law and Order as you fall asleep. Freaking weirdo. In this episode of Law and Order, and it's a multiple rape suspect, something.
Or I want to play like the Arkham games. You know, where I get to go into another character who's not me, dealing with even harsher things, but still similar things, so that I can be reminded that things aren't as bad, although, you know, and though there is good in the world. The movie, by the way, it's 2014. It's Calvary.
It's just called Calvary?
It's called Calvary. Yeah. And it's about a priest who is threatened and told that he's going to die in 7 days.
No spoilers.
Yeah, sure. That he's going to die in 7 days. Some guy's going to kill him, and how he has to deal with this. Does he run? Does he kill the guy? Does he whatever? And I remember just feeling like, man, every pastor should watch this movie in terms of like how he deals with it. It was very, very emotional for me.
Well, so now that you have a good idea of what Josh is like versus what I'm like, you probably have definite perception of me as being like this. Whatever, I won't say it.
I like to double down on the dark.
Yeah, it's funny.
But I don't like that sort of Lars von Trier thing.
Yeah. Me neither, man. Like, and if I do watch it, like, I recognize it as like, this is.
Well, do you?
It exhausts me, like, spiritually.
That's what it is.
It sucks.
It sucks out of you, almost like demonic, like succubus or incubus. Yeah, I remember the movie The Cell.
I never saw that
Jennifer
one.
Lopez
J-Lo.
and my boy, what is his name? D'Onofrio, Vincent D'Onofrio, and he's a serial killer, and she has to go into his mind, and it's just some jacked up
She's a serial
stuff.
killer.
No, he's a serial killer.
She has to go into his mind.
He's a serial killer, and she has to go into his mind to figure out, with new technology, and she has to go into his mind to figure out where this person is being hid. And I just remember, like, I watched that movie 3 times trying to figure out why it made me feel weird. And I would, like, watch it with people, like, trying to figure out, like, what was going on. And I remember, like, the 3rd time I watched it, I remember thinking to myself, oh, this movie is sucking the life out of me. That's what makes me feel weird.
It literally
about it.
feels like that. Like it's taking.
It's taking from you.
Yeah, they're weird. And that's how I felt when I watched that. For sure, that Human Centipede movie. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is no good.
And you got to
This
guard.
is no good for you.
You got to guard, like, who you are. That's the thing. It's really interesting, like, what we allow ourselves to be subjected to, what we allow our kids to be subjected to.
Yeah.
That's so.
I
like,
do remember having feelings too. Like I was too young to be watching that Texas Chainsaw movie, but I did. I watched it. I was probably 13, but like looking back,
Right.
like I remember being just my word then was just that movie scared me. It scared me. But now it's just like it's not that it scares me. It's just that I know that it's not good for me. You know, like
Yeah,
it's a
like,
little bit more
there's
articulation to it. Like,
something wrong.
I still recognize it, but it's not just. I just label it as I'm scared of that movie. You know, like
Right.
I know that movie is no good.
Right. There's something wrong with it that goes beyond sort of the legality of it. It's like I'm not just getting away with something and my parents wouldn't want me to watch this. It's like before God, I'm doing something that God would not be okay with me doing.
Yeah.
And it goes against the moral law. And I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I remember thinking, because I watched The Hills Have Eyes 1, and I remember thinking, okay, this movie was actually okay, like in terms of what it was. It was okay. And then when I watched Hills Have Eyes 2, I was just like, what am I watching?
It's
Like,
because
I
there's
can't
that
watch
rape scene, right?
right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And an interesting fact of that movie, of that story, was that movie theaters share reels, not reels, they share platters is what they're called, where you'll put 2 movies on the same platter.
Back in the days when film.
Yes, when we used actual film and it was a thing, celluloid.
Yes.
You put movies on platters, and different movies would share the same platter, and so sometimes a projectionist might start the wrong film, and for whatever reason, our film buyer had decided to put that movie with a children's movie, and it almost got there. We were able to stop the film before, because a parent came out and was like, what is with these previews?
Yeah.
And then
because previews usually are, in line, in the same category as the movie you're watching, right?
Right,
So
right.
When you're going to see, whatever,
You're going to
Finding
watch
Nemo, and you're
not going to watch horror movie previews.
the remake of Friday the 13th or something like that. You're like, well, that's weird.
Yeah. And so it's like one after another, all these like really bad like movies. And yeah, needless to say, we stopped it pretty much in like the opening like credits of the movie. We were able to stop it right before it got to that scene. But yeah, that was not a good movie.
That's like something where if it got bad enough, like
Yeah, you
that
could get-
that theater
Yeah.
shut down.
yeah,
Like
you could really get in trouble
boom,
for that.
You're done. Because
Yeah.
you've just emotionally
Scarred
scarred
somebody for life.
for life. And how
Yeah.
do you put a value on that? You know,
Yeah.
it's just like, ooh, dodged a bullet there.
Yes. So what you don't realize is that theater projectionists hold life and death in their hands.
In the very fingertips.
That's right.
In their very fingertips.
Yes.
So hug one next time you see one. Well,
Yes.
they don't exist really anymore. Now it's a button or a click.
Yeah.
We should wrap up.
Yeah.
We should wrap up. So, for those of you that stuck around, thanks for tuning in. For those of you that will listen to it in the future, you're welcome. I'm just kidding. I hope you enjoyed. Let's see. We got some stuff coming up. First of all, if you're interested in the topics today or just staying relevant, you can check out our WordPress. because I'm hoping our director is hoping to stay on top of that. I'll check in with her. Or you can check us out on Facebook or Twitter. And if you have questions, reach out to us on those platforms at Culture Insanity. We always post these videos live, and we try to post previews to keep you updated on when it's happening. It's every 2 weeks at 8 p.m. on a Saturday, so always be looking for the latest episode. If you have something you're personally interested in or want to hear it discussed, or if you have feedback on something we've already discussed,
or if you want to play the game.
If you want to play the game. Yeah, reach out. We'll include you. And if you're interested in exploring your faith or are completely new to Christ or the Bible, you can check out the help tab on vigilance.blog. You can also go to abfpdx.org. New domain.
Yep.
abfpdx.org. We have an event coming up, not tomorrow, Sunday, but in 1 week from tomorrow. The next cross-examination panel, which is on predestination, I believe.
Yep, predestination and free will.
Prince
of Peace in Battleground, Washington.
So it's a little bit of a jaunt. Touch base with one of your friends or us if you want to carpool, if you know us.
Yeah.
Or you can meet us here at Aletheia Bible Fellowship, I guess, if you don't know us.
Yep. Or you can meet us on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and we'll get something worked out. So that will be at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Prince of Peace in Battleground, Washington. There will be a panel of pastors talking about predestinations, ready to answer whatever questions you have in regards to the topic of predestination.
We will certainly try.
They will certainly try. They're really good. The last cross-examination, cross-X, if you will, panel was really fun and had a lot of great turnout. And so we're really excited that it seems to be picking up traction. So hop on that train. And with that, we look forward to next time, episode number 14. Good night. Godspeed.
The views presented in this program are not meant to express the specific views of the Aletheia Bible Fellowship. You are listening to the Vigilance Radio Network.